The Apple-Android battle rages on, and the latest iPhone 5 contender from Google is the Nexus 4. They're both great phones, but with very different feel because of the operating systems. So which one should you buy? Here's our comparison review. Something we love about the Nexus range from Google are the extremely reasonable prices. It's £239 for the 8GB Nexus 4 and £279 for the 16GB version. Compare that to the £529 you'll shell out for a 16GB iPhone 5, and the Apple version is almost double in price. The Nexus 4 is a whole centimetre longer than the iPhone to house the bigger screen, making it look a fair bit chunkier, and the extra size means it's heavier too. However, holding both devices, the iPhone 5 almost feels a bit too light, and we'd worry about it slipping out of our hands, especially with the smooth glass and aluminium chassis. Onto the displays, and the Nexus gives you over half an inch more corner to corner. The iPhone 5 screen is up from what went before, but we still think it's a little too small to watch longer videos and play some games on. You're sacrificing a bit of screen space for better resolution on Apple's offering though, as it gives you 326 ppi, but that's only a shade more than the Nexus, and we don't think it's noticeable. The Nexus comes with a quad-core 1.5GHz Snapdragon processor under the hood, which is a great value for money. Apple have stuck with their 1.2GHz dual-core A6 chip in the iPhone 5, which is apparently double the processing power of previous iPhones. Unfortunately, neither handset will give you a microSD card slot to expand storage. However, you can get the Nexus 4 in 8 and 16GB versions, which isn't much if you carry lots of music and movies around in your pocket. The iPhone 5 has much more media-friendly 32 and 64GB options. Apart from the look of the phones, by far the biggest difference is the operating systems they run. As you can probably guess, the Google Nexus 4 runs Google's Android. It's got the latest version, 4.2 Jelly Bean, and with this comes now better Google Now, new camera features like Photosphere, and the swipe text feature. iPhone 5 ships with iOS 6, so no more Google Maps in favour of Apple's homegrown version, better Siri with location-based search results, and new Safari functionality. There's not much in it for the camera specs. Both phones give you an 8MP rear-facing sensor capable of 1080p HD video. You get a marginally better front-facing camera on the Nexus, but 0.1 of a megapixel shouldn't be a deal breaker. As we said before, annoyingly there's no microSD card slot on either phone, but the Nexus 4 helps you out a bit more with a micro USB port and NFC. Apple's iPhone 5 is the first device to spot a lightning connector, so an adapter will be in order for any old 30-pin accessories, and there's no NFC. In conclusion then, you get a slightly faster processor and bigger screen on the Nexus 4, but the iPhone 5 gives you more storage options and is lighter and thinner. The difference between these phones that just cannot be ignored is the price. To be honest, there's not that much in it, considering the specs, but price-wise the iPhone 5 is near enough double the cost of the Nexus 4.